Hello guys and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. So the big game of the weekend, Liverpool versus Arsenal, ends Liverpool 1, Arsenal 1, and it's a draw and a point that as an Arsenal fan I would happily take and would have taken before the game. If you saw my pre-match video, you'd know that this is the fixture I absolutely hate more than any. And watching it as a neutral must have been great, but watching it as an Arsenal fan was fucking stressful as can be. And I'm glad it's over, to be honest. And it's a game that thankfully leaves Arsenal top of the table at Christmas, 1 point ahead of Liverpool, 2 ahead of Villa after their drop points. And City obviously didn't play this weekend, but it leaves us 6 points ahead of City, but City do have a game in hand. And, you know, many people saying that, you know, this result best suits City, and that City are the real winners of the weekend, with Arsenal, Liverpool and Villa dropping points. And yes, I do kind of see that, but I think a point at Anfield for anyone in the title race, especially around the time of Christmas, isn't a bad point at all. So yeah, let's go through the game and talk about it. Game started and Arsenal started very, very well, had a chance within the first 30 seconds roughly. And then we do end up going 1-0 up within the first 3 to 4 minutes. A free kick, which is something we do well on set piece goals, but they mainly come from corners, etc. We don't really tend to score many goals from a deep free kick getting crossed into the box, but we did get one. Martin Odegaard put it in from the left hand side. Gabriel managed to find himself free and head us in to go 1-0 up after a VAR check to make sure he wasn't offside. Which I don't see how it took him as long as it did, because it was so blatant that he was onside. But yeah, great start for Arsenal. We settled and we managed to get ourselves in a good shape. You know, every pass we was playing was going forward, and you know, we were really positive. But Liverpool did manage to find their way back into the game. And I see a lot of people hyping up this Trent assist to Salah, which I did say in my pre-match that Salah seems to always score against us, and Trent always gets an assist against us at least. If you look at Trent's, I believe they showed a graphic yesterday. Out of every team he's played, he's got the most assists against Arsenal. I think yesterday was his 7th. And yeah, he just always seems to find a ball that seems to unlock us. But don't get me wrong, it was a good pass. And, you know, Salah's done well to chop in and bang it in the top corner. But I've seen some people saying it's like assist of the season. And no, it 100% wasn't. However, for me, Zinchenko in these games, I'll go into it more in the player ratings, but he shouldn't really be playing in these games in my opinion. And I know we didn't have much of a choice with Tomiyasu and Timber injured, but anyway, it's gone over his head. He's let Salah cut in way too easy, and as well as I thought Gabriel played, I do think he should have got a bit closer to Salah. He should have anticipated, in my opinion, that Salah was going to chop in on Zinchenko and be there to close the door on him. However, you know, he's chopped in from Zinch and he's banged it in the top corner. Nothing David Raya could do about it. And that put him 1-1. And then after that, it was a bit of a frantic game, a little bit end-to-end. No team could get real control, consistent control in the game. But no really massive chances. No keeper had to make any massive saves or anything like that throughout the game. But the second half is when Liverpool probably should have won it. Oh, actually, before we go into that, sorry, I forgot a key point in the first half. A potential penalty for Liverpool for an Odegaard handball as he's slipping, and, you know, the ball does hit his hand. And it was one when I was first watching it, I thought, nah, no chance. Is it a penalty? Because he's has absolutely no intention of handling the ball. He's slipped and it's hit his hand. However, watching it back, if it was down the other end, I would want it, and that's how I judge pretty much everything. I think if that was for Arsenal, would I want it? However, even if it was for Arsenal, and say it was Van Dijk or something in the box and he slipped and he's hit his hand, as much as I'd want the pen, I would understand that it is very, very harsh, and I don't think he could do much about it. So I understand why Liverpool fans and maybe Klopp and the players would be frustrated not to get given that decision, but at the same time, I do think it would have been quite harsh. But yeah, thankfully for Arsenal's sake, it wasn't given, and yeah, they didn't have the penalty. So 1-1 at half time, and then second half, much of the same. There were some points it turned into a basketball game, and I found that quite frustrating from an Arsenal point of view, because, you know, we would win the ball back and we'd keep the possession for a bit quite nicely. And then someone would do a little bit of an unnecessary risky pass that wasn't really on and lose it. And then Liverpool would come back at us. And I found that quite frustrating. But in the second half, I can't remember the exact minute, but Liverpool had a break from a corner where Arsenal obviously had the corner, come out to Odegaard, and for some reason Zinchenko decided to take him out. And then Salah broke and he was running towards Arsenal's half, and it looked like that there was absolutely no one in sight, and he looked like he was just running towards Raya. And at this point, my head was in my hands and I thought, oh my God. And then all of a sudden you see Rice is there, but there's still about 4 or 5 Liverpool players against Rice, and you just think this is 100% going to be a goal. Salah picks out the pass to Trent, and luckily for Arsenal, and my God, were the football gods looking down on us then, he's hit the shot, it has bobbled up and it's hit off the crossbar and gone to an Arsenal player, and we've managed to retain possession. But other than that, I don't think any team done anything in the second half to go on and actually win the game. You know, there was a few moments where both teams created, you know, nice openings that, you know, potentially could have done better. A few times, a couple of times Saka went down the wing and put a good cross into the box. And you just think if we had a proper number 9, there'll be someone there tapping it in. Instead, you got players holding to the edge for a cutback instead of making the run to the 6-yard box and just getting a nice tap in. But I don't think Arsenal done enough to win it in the second half, and I wouldn't say Liverpool did, bar that one chance which come from a mistake anyway. But yeah, a point that I think both teams in the end would feel was probably a fair result. Like I said, I'm sure Liverpool will feel a bit aggrieved by the penalty shout, and they will feel a bit frustrated that Trent didn't put that ball in the back of the net. However, did Arsenal have a penalty shout of their own in the second half? Kai Havertz got in the box and Trent just fully barged him in the back and pushed him over. Now, look, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, it's a pen, but I think anywhere else on the pitch that gets given as a foul. You know, so look, I'm not going to scream shout about it because I think we did end up getting away with one with the Odegaard thing and with their counter attack anyway. But I do think anywhere else that gets given as a foul. But it would have been a soft pen. I get that, but still, you know, he just pushed him in the back, and that's a foul anywhere else on the pitch. But it wasn't given, and look at that, that's fine. But yeah, I think it was a game where obviously we spoke about in the preview the key battles on the pitch, mainly with the wingers and the fullbacks. And it was one that Liverpool's right side definitely ended up getting the better of our left side. Zinchenko was terrible. Salah had the better of him and obviously scored through a Zinchenko mistake. I thought Martinelli was really quite poor in the game. He had a few decent moments in the first half where he looked like a very good outlet for us, but then he started losing the ball cheaply, started running back towards his own goal and running it out of play. And second half, he looked like he was absolutely shattered. Just not a great game for him. Trent obviously ended up with an assist and he was playing some nice passes. And then you look on Liverpool's left-hand side and Arsenal's right-hand side. Tsimikas versus Saka. I think Saka did have the better of him throughout the game until Tsimikas obviously did end up unfortunately getting injured. And I see a lot of people giving Saka stick about this because obviously it was a shoulder-to-shoulder. That then Saka obviously outmuscled him. He rolled off the pitch, took out Klopp, which people did find funny until they realised that, you know, Tsimikas was badly injured. And unfortunately, it looks like it's a suspected broken collarbone. But absolutely no malice from Salah. He done what anyone would have done in that position, used his body, got in there. It wasn't even a foul, in my personal opinion. But the ref did obviously blow up, and Tsimikas had to come off, and Gomez come on at left back, who I thought played quite well up against Saka. He done well to get forward a few times, had a shot that, you know, I thought had gone in. And I thought it'd just be typical Arsenal, a guy who's never scored a goal in his professional career to somehow end up scoring his first one against us. And then Ben White versus Diaz. And this is something in my preview I accidentally forgot to actually speak about because I ended up getting distracted by Declan Rice and the Szoboszlai battle. But yeah, White versus Diaz was also one that, you know, could have potentially caused Ben White problems, but I thought he dealt with Diaz really, really well. I don't really remember Diaz going past him or anything. Maybe once in the first half he got down the line, but Ben White purposely showed him to his left, and then he crossed it and Saliba just put it out for a corner. And the only other time I remember Ben White getting done was 1 point late on in the second half when fresh legs in Darwin Núñez come on and managed to skip round him. But other than that, I thought White played really, really well. So, yeah, really happy with his performance. Then you look at the midfield, and I think it's a midfield that quite, in a way, cancelled each other out. I thought Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard for Arsenal were really, really good, especially Rice. He was just everywhere. He's just such a good player. And I thought Martin Odegaard, was very, very, very good in midfield. He, he was getting back. He was nicking balls, and he was just keeping it simple and keeping the ball and retaining the ball when we needed to, slowing it down. And he was trying to speed it up when we needed to. Obviously, he ended up getting an assist on the day as well. There was a few points when I thought he was giving away a couple of needless balls that frustrated me, but overall I thought he played well, and he kept us ticking nicely. Havertz played a good game as well. And the thing is with Havertz as well, he done some stuff in this game that in previous games I think everyone would criticise him for, but he played it safe in this game. He was getting the ball and he was just keeping it. And in this sort of game, I think that's perfect. You've got to take the sting out of it sometimes. Retain possession. Obviously, if you're playing like a lower side at home and you want to attack, that can be frustrating. But I think he played it perfectly. Unfortunately for him, he did pick up a yellow card, which means he'll be out of our next game after picking up 5 throughout the season, which I thought was a harsh yellow card, by the way. Again, I'm not sure that it was even a foul, but unfortunately, he will be out against West Ham on the 28th. But Liverpool's midfield played really well as well. I thought Endo stepped up. He had a very solid game. So Bosley maybe didn't do much in an attacking sense that Liverpool would have wanted him to, but he worked so hard. He was numerous times he was backtracking, taking the ball off Martinelli or stopping crosses, etc. I thought he worked really hard. Curtis Jones didn't play too great. They didn't have much in terms of their third midfield player, but 2 of them played really well. And overall, it was a game that both team centre-backs stood out. Van Dijk and Konate had solid games. Gabriel and Saliba had solid games. Saliba ended up getting man of the match, but it maybe could have gone to any of them. I mean, I thought Gabriel was arguably the best centre-back on the pitch. Obviously, he scored as well. But it could have gone to any of them, and you could see why, especially Van Dijk and Saliba are touted as the 2 best defenders in the league at the minute. But I think Gabriel's got to be right up there as well. I think he's slowly starting to get the credit he deserves. And, long may his form continue. And Konate had a very good game as well. So, like I said, it's a game for a neutral. Must have been good to watch. And, it is a decent point. And it's one, like I said, I would have taken before the game. And I'm happy with the performance. Frustrated by the goal we conceded, because I think it was so avoidable. And, yeah, unfortunately, with some of the players we had out who probably would have started this game, it is what it is. And, yeah, we take the point and we move on to West Ham in the week. I'm just going to go through my player ratings. In goal, David Raya, I thought, didn't really have much to do. Had no chance with the goal. Decent enough with his feet. Just booted it out when he needed to. Yeah, I thought he played fairly well. I'll give him a 6 because, like I said, he didn't really have much to do. Ben White, I thought was good and solid, consistent throughout. I'll give him a 7. Saliba and Gabriel, I'm going to mark them probably the same. I'm going to give them both 9s, to be honest. Like I said, for me, Gabriel was probably ever so slightly better. But, yeah, I think both of them were absolutely solid. They didn't, again, as much as I say Gabriel was slightly better, I do think he could have done better on their goal. But, they dealt with everything they had to. They won pretty much every header. They was composed on the ball. Yeah, just as a pairing, I do believe that they are the best centre-back pairing in the league at the minute. They're just brilliant. Zinchenko, boy, oh boy. Gonna have to give him a 4. I thought he was poor. He had some decent moments in possessions, but then he had some really bad moments in possession. Defensively, he's so poor in these games. And it's not necessarily his fault. If Timber or Tomiyasu's fit, I believe both of them play in this game. But unfortunately, well, not both of them, but at least one of them, shall I say. But we do have injuries, and I'm sure in an ideal world, in big games away from home, Zinchenko should not be playing. When you're playing the best teams away from home, Zinch should not be playing. Zinchenko's a good player, and in certain games you 100% need him. When you're trying to break down a low block or something at home, you need him playing and inverting. But in games like this, he just should not be on the pitch. He just defensively, he's not cut out for it. So I have to give him a 4. Declan Rice, I'm giving a 9. I thought he was unbelievable throughout the whole game. Just done what Declan Rice does, really. I thought he was really, really good. Odegaard, I'll give an 8. Like I said, he ended up walking away with an assist, and I thought he kept the ball really well, worked really hard, led a press well when we needed to. Good performance from the skipper. And I saw some people online giving him stick, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous. He was brilliant. Kai Havertz, I'll give a 7. I thought, yeah, he was all right. He put himself about and for me, he kept it safe, which in this sort of game, I'm more than happy with. Martinelli, I'm going to give a 5. I thought Martinelli was poor. I really did. I really didn't think he had a good game. Saka, I'll give a 7. You know, he tried, worked hard, created some openings. Weren't his best game. Some moments I felt he could have done better, but overall, you know, he done okay. Jesus, bit of a quiet game for Jesus. Probably give him a 6. I don't think he done too much. You know, he put himself about. He was up against 2 very, very good defenders, so it was a tough game for him. He didn't do badly, he just didn't do anything of note that I can really think of. And then the subs, I'm going to rate the subs, Trossard and Eddie, and I thought both of them had positive impacts when they come on. I'd give them both, I'm going to give them both a 6, just because, actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to give them both a 7. I thought both of them worked really hard. Trossard especially, he was much better than Martinelli on the day. Getting in positions, you know, trying to get crosses in. I mean, his corners were terrible, but overall, I think he played well. When Eddie worked his absolute socks off, and I think he was a right nuisance. There was a couple of times he was getting back on the edge of our own box and winning tackles, getting us up the pitch, and I thought he played really well. And yeah, like I said, I think it's a point that Arteta and the boys will be happy with. Of course, they would have wanted all 3, but a point at Anfield is never a bad result. And now we look on to Thursday, I believe it is, when we play West Ham. And we'll be looking to bounce back and get 3 points and extend our lead at the top of the table. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of the game and the player ratings. And yeah, please do like, comment and subscribe. And I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you. Oh, and have a good Christmas. This will obviously be my last video before Christmas, as it is Christmas Eve. So yeah, have a good Christmas, guys. And yeah, talk to you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.